Hi, I'm Pantu from freefincal, and today let's talk about how to prepare for a break from work. So there are several reasons why somebody would take a break from work. The most common among people in their 20s would be to pursue higher education. Uh, then many women take a break when they get pregnant, and some people also take a break because they want to start something on their own, become an entrepreneur, and just see how that works. And if it works, they'll not go back to their salary job. But if it doesn't work, they will think of that as a break. And today also there is a concept called mini retirement uh, becoming popular. That is, people take a break for anywhere between 6 months to 1 year, 2 years. It used to be called sabbaticals. Another, you might call it as a sabbatical also. So they just try to see how things work, trying to do something very different from what they're doing. And for all these things, whether it's a small break, extended break, whatever, a break with no particular end in sight. However way you put it, some kind of financial planning is necessary. I'm doing this video because a friend asked me today. He said he's gonna resign his job in a few days, and he has made some plans, and he wanted me to check it. He's going to do an MS and then preferably a PhD if possible after that, and so on. And so he said that he had 1 year's living expenses in cash with him, and before that runs out, he's got to um, uh, get a job and fend for himself. His MS comes with a tuition fee waiver. That's very good. Many people don't get that. Of course, the PhD will come with a tuition fee, so there the employment is not a problem. And many PhD institutes, the PhD comes with a stipend. PhD comes with a stipend, and there's no tuition fee for the PhD, so there's no problem about the employment and so on. Um, so how do you plan in general? So for that person who asked me that 1 year's expense is good, just have that in cash and uh, uh, strive hard to get a job, and that should be it. That for that person, I think that is pretty much decent. How to plan this in an ideal situation? So the first thing is to give yourself some time. You can't suddenly decide, okay, in 3 months I'm going to quit my job and do something else. I think you've got to even the best thing is to do is to plan this even when you're in college. I'm talking about people who want to take a break to pursue studies. So what happens is that uh, there are many cases. I've seen all situations where there are people who don't know what to do with themselves, so they take up they get placed, and then they kind of decide to take a break after that, and so on. There are people who want to pursue higher education but cannot because of the money, though. So they take a job only to accumulate that sum, which is okay because there's a very clear goal in place. There are those who want to do it immediately but cannot because of family circumstances, and that's what I mean. That's the same as the previous one. But what I'm seeing, and I think it's unhealthy, is that people who have the money, they are not pursuing higher education immediately, but they're getting placed, and then they want to do it after a couple of years. I don't know what is the logic. I mean, if you don't have the money, or if you don't know what to do with yourself, I can understand. But if you have the money and you know what to do, why are you taking a break? Don't do that. So I just wanted to say, get that out of the way. Um, so how do you plan in general? So the first thing I said is to plan well ahead. You must say, I'm going to work for 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years, and then I'm going to quit my job and do that. So that gives you the time to research on where to apply, what to do, how much it will cost, etc., how much money you should have, and so on. So I'm going to explain why I have this Excel screenshot here. Now, it might be surprising to many of you, but planning for these mini breaks is exactly the same as planning for retirement. So let me just head over here. This is one of my favorite Excel calculators. It's four simple calculators. Each one of them. This is one calculator. That's another. That's another. And that's another. So there are four modules. They're all the same thing, but the inputs and outputs are different for each of them. So, for example, let's say I want to take a break for 5 years, let's say, and because 5 years is a decent time for to check whether a startup will work or not. In the case of an MS or higher education or a postgraduate degree, you clearly know how, unless it's a PhD, you clearly know the time frame. So their planning is a lot more easier. But anyway, the steps are identical. So to do it, what you do is to simply say, let's say for 5 years, and I'm going to take my annual expense as what is my annual expense? Let's say 30,000 or 25,000. 25,000 into 12, so that's my annual expense. 25,000 a month. That's about 3 lakhs. Years payments are required. This is for retirement. You will say 25, 30 years, but for this, I'm going to just say 5 years. That's it. And interest rate on the corpus, that is, you are going to invest this corpus, and what is the interest rates you're going to get. My suggestion is, don't worry too much about all this. 8%, just put something very low. 5% is enough. Inflation, up to 5 years, you can take a chance and set the inflation to 0. Up to 5 years, you can just set it to 0. It's okay. Or if you want, you can just put it at 5%. That's it. Then immediately you can, the amount you want is this 5 into this initial amount, that's 15. So 3 lakhs into 5, that will give you 15 lakhs. Quick calculation for 0 real return. That is, the interest rate is equal to inflation. That's it. This is identical to retirement planning. So this is also valid for mini breaks. Just do this. You can don't put 10%, 15% and all that for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Keep it very low. Even SB account 4% is enough. Inflation, if it is for 2 years, 3 years, 1 year, and so on, set inflation to 0. It doesn't really matter. There will be inflation, but it doesn't matter too much. You can just, you are looking for a ballpark sum. You should be able to manage it, I think. But for extended breaks, 5 years is an it's like the lowest segment of an extended break, because you're trying to do something and you need that comfort. See, when you're a student, you can manage with less expenses, but when you're doing a startup, in those 5 years, if you're not married, you could be married, you could fall in love and get married within those 5 years, you would have a child and so on. So there you may need a little bit more careful planning and so on. So if it is 15 lakhs, maybe you can increase it and put it as 20 lakhs just to, so you will be able, so you can say, I'll do my startup and I have 20 lakhs and so on. That kind of a thing, that kind of an insurance policy is good. But that's the essential, what can I say? That's the essential idea, and the calculation is the same. For the other calculators are also very identical to this, but I'll just show you one more. So this is just the opposite calculation. Let us say I have 15 lakhs with me, and let us say the interest rate on this corpus is 5%, the inflation is 5%, and the amount needed in the first year is 3 lakhs. And the year's payment can be made. That is, it will last for 5 years. So notice that this calculation is exactly the same. Here the corpus is the 15 lakh is the output, and 5 years is the input. In this, 15 lakh is the input and 5 years is the output. Similarly, you can find out, given a corpus, and if you want it to last, for example, let me do it again. So I have 15 lakhs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interest rate is 5%. Inflation is 5%. I want the money to last for 5 years. So first payment will be 3 lakhs, and because of that 5% inflation, the fifth payment will be for the 5th year. The payment will be, the amount I can draw out will be 3,64,000. So again, that is one more way to do it. And there's one more, again I can do this. 15 lakhs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interest rate is 5%. A year's payment is required is 5 years. and amount needed in the first year is 3 lakhs, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the rate of return required is 5%. So there are multiple ways you can calculate. You can also go on to calculate inflation and so on. This is one of my favorite tools because it teaches you basic retirement planning, especially for people who are financial planners, investment advisors. This kind of a tool will help because it gives you all the basic Excel formula. You can use that and so on. You can download the tool in the description box. That's about it. So that's how you plan for a break. It's common sense, but don't say I will invest this 5 years in into equity, into balance funds and so on. Don't take all those kind of risks. You need money. It's liquid cash. Just put it in a SB account or flexible flexi deposit account. If you're comfortable, put it in a liquid fund. Put it in a very safe instrument where you can draw out money anytime you want to live off that money. So that's what I wanted to say, and I'll catch you in another video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.